Still with Tottenham. They're looking to try and get the ball into the box, and they have done. Now it's danger here. It's 1-0. 1-0.
It has come in the 29th minute anyway. Spurs 1, West Ham United 0.
Blasic now.
Good ball.
Ball played in. Good. Oh, that's a hell of a save by Lloris. Blasic does well to win it back. Turns again, gets another nice cross in.
Oh.
Souček again heads it again. It takes another good save from Lloris to tip it over the bar. Bowen sends the corner in. And we've just headed over. We could be 3-1 up with headers. That's Dawson that time.
On your attack again, Vlasic tries long distance. In a box, it turns.
Yeah!
Come on, Jared.
I barely had a chance to say then because I've been writing copious notes for the last 2 minutes, 4 chances in a row.
Now, Tottenham on the right-hand side now, again on the right-hand side of the box, looking to try and work the ball into the box. It's 2-1. Tottenham have got the ball out their half once in the last 10 minutes, or twice in the last 10 minutes, and scored both times.
That's it. Full time. The whistle has blown at White Hart Lane. The final score in this Carabao Cup quarter-final, big London derby. Tottenham Hotspur 2, West Ham United 1. The Hammers undone by 2 first-half goals from our hosts. The opening goal coming in the 29th minute from Bergwijn. Diop possibly at fault for the opening, but West Ham stuck at it. Didn't get too despondent and were level within 3 minutes. Thomas Souček had a couple of headers that were brilliantly saved by Lloris. Dawson, another effort from a corner before. Jared Bowen did absolutely fantastically inside the box, swiveled on a sixpence and put the ball low to the right of a prone Lloris to make it 1-1. But West Ham were level for just 2 more minutes, really sort of lacking in concentration a little bit perhaps. And it was Mora who turned and shot from inside the 6-yard box to put Spurs back ahead. There was still nearly an hour of the game to go, another 59 minutes as it transpired for West Ham to get an equaliser. And it can't be said that West Ham didn't make the most of, or at least try their hardest in the second half. There was, of course, that point 7 or 8 minutes before the end of full time when the statistics said that West Ham had 89% of possession for the preceding 10 minutes or so, such was their dominance in terms of possession. But we just couldn't make it count. Missing that killer instinct, missing that striker that could have made all the difference. And in the end, it's cost us a place in the last 4 of the Carabao Cup. Defeated Manchester United, defeated long-time holders Manchester City, but couldn't quite beat Tottenham tonight. And we're out of the Cup. Gnome, how do you assess what you've seen over the last 90 minutes?
Disappointed with the result, but a much, much better performance than we've had of late, which, considering the makeshift nature of the thing, the fact that Tottenham barely got the ball out of their half in the second half. Much improved performance. Again, say the difference between 2 sides of goal that when you see it again, it's offside. There's no question about it. And a game that with VAR, well, our 1-1 predictions would have been right, wouldn't they? Yeah. But, it should have been right. I mean, let's face it, VAR, they'll look at things and ignore it. So I'm just cheesed off at the fact that every game now just seems to be decided not by, the relative performance of the teams. It's whether or not the officials could be bothered to do their jobs. And, clearly they can't. There you go.
Okay, good stuff. Rio, Tottenham 2, West Ham United 1. West Ham pretty much dominant in the second half in terms of possession, but of course it doesn't count for anything at the end of the day. We're out of the Carabao Cup at the hands of one of our big London neighbours. So it's always tough to go out of any cup at this competition, but especially disappointing, against, let's say, one of our closest rivals geographically. Did West Ham do enough tonight? Did we do everything we can? Is it just a question of the size of the squad cost us tonight? What do you put that defeat down to?
I think really what cost us was having a makeshift backline in the first half.
Yeah,
who committed 2 cardinal sins of incredibly sloppy defending, which against a team of that calibre, as much as I hate to say it, they're a reasonably good side. Against a team of that calibre, you can't afford to make those kind of sloppy errors. and that cost us. And the second goal especially, we just pulled ourselves back into the game. We was on the ascendancy, on the up.
Yeah.
And their second simply knocked the wind out of us for like the closing 13, 40 minutes of that first half. And we didn't really like responding in that period. We come out in the second half with a lot better attitude, a lot better mindset. But despite the fact we've had 89% possession, as I mentioned, we was lacking that extra person up front with a touch of quality, that person who can open up a defence. It's hard to break down a team that's playing virtually 10 men behind the ball. But we had the opportunities, we had the possession. We're just lacking that killer instinct and those two key players, someone to unlock the door and someone to actually bury the ball.
Let's have a quick look at the final match stats, gentlemen, before we continue. Possession, 43% Tottenham, 57% West Ham. Shots, Tottenham 10, 4 of which were on target. West Ham, 15 shots, 5 of which were on target. Corners, 1 for Tottenham, 8 for West Ham United. So statistically, when you look at those basic match facts, West Ham were in control. But of course, as we always say on this stream, the only stat that really counts is the one in the goal scored column, and Tottenham go through to the semi-finals as a result. No, I want to come back to you about that offside decision. Now, no one's really spotted it on the stream, but you felt that it was a clear offside. Now, kind of ironic, I guess, that we've been bemoaning the way we've been treated by VAR in recent weeks, and yet had VAR been there tonight, we might be getting prepared for a penalty shootout right now. Yeah,
I mean, the offsides are the one thing that VAR really can't get wrong, and they certainly would have looked at that. And as I say, it was number 3 Regulion, I think it was clearly in an offside position and right in front of Areola. The ball went under Areola. I mean, partly due to the fact that there was an inadvertent deflection off the sole of Johnson's foot there. So, but it's annoying. VAR's available. It's available. Even at Sunderland, there'd be enough in there to put VAR in. It's not like AFC Wimbledon's old ground at Kingstonian, and it's a place that's set up. So. Why VAR wasn't in there? Well, make your own rules up. But it's very disappointing, and it's as I say, I don't know what they were saying, but they clearly picked up on it on the Sky commentary, because they showed the frozen point at which Regulion was there, and you can clearly see there's a good 3/4 of his body is offside. There's only a little bit of him in any way, shape, or form level. It's disappointing to go out like that. Rio, as ever, hit the nail on the head. We haven't got enough up top to really sort of to have made all that possession count. And disagree with Rio to a certain degree there when he said Tottenham this. I thought it was very ordinary, very, very ordinary indeed. And
okay.
How many times I think Areola's maybe his first touch of the second half was in the Tottenham penalty area at the end there. But it's probably a slight exaggeration, but only just.
I think it's a fair point. I mean, he barely had anything to do. He certainly didn't have a save to make, did he, in the second half? But not too many in the first half either. Unfortunately, Rio, his opposite number, Hugo Lloris, who we've kind of pilloried at times on the stream, had a bit of a decent game tonight. And I guess you could argue, if it wasn't for 1 or 2 fantastic saves he made, especially in the first half, that we might be celebrating victory here tonight.
Most definitely. As we said, we sort of typical Hugo Lloris performance in a way. At times, world class, particularly that save from Thomas Souček. Other times, he's flapping around like Rod Hull's withered hand. It's for a World Cup winning captain, World Cup winning goalkeeper. He just beggars belief at times. One moment he pulls off a world class save. The other times he looks like an absolute clown.
Yeah.
Sadly, tonight, he pulled off an absolute weldy. But the amount of times when we did put the ball into the box, he never looked comfortable going for them crosses.
Yeah.
Punches could have gone anywhere. I think, was it one for Dawson when Dawson just got under it a little bit and put it over the bar?
Yeah.
He made an absolute hash of that as well. But sadly, when he needed to make an absolute stunner, he did. And obviously it's cost us the game in the end.
Yeah, it was a case of going from the sublime to the ridiculous, wasn't it, in the space of about 30 seconds? Those two incredible saves from Souček, 30 and 31st minute. And then it was about 30 seconds later from the resulting corner, wasn't it, that he just went
just to
flatly
update you,
Yeah.
just to update you, they added 6 minutes of stoppage time at Anfield because Liverpool were losing, and predictably Liverpool got a last-minute equaliser. Game's now going straight to penalties, so
I think they added the 3 minutes owing from our game and transferred it up to Anfield.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's always the way. If Liverpool are down, they'll always get an extra minute or two, you know. So, shall we just for fun go through the penalty shootout as it's just about to happen in front of me?
Do we have to?
Tielemans, isn't it, number 8?
Tell us what happens. I'll tell you what, if Leicester win,
1-0 to Leicester anyway.
if
Liverpool carry on talking about the game, and I'll come back to you when there's a penalty being taken. So.
No. 1 winning 7 now for West Ham. That win coming against Chelsea of all teams.
Yeah.
Is it panic stations yet for David Moyes?
No, but it's a sad and inevitable consequence of what me, you, Rio, Pinky, when he's here, have been saying all season, that we got a paper thin squad.
Yeah.
And if you look, our worst injury spell has coincided with our worst run of non-victories. That's not coincidence. It just is. I mean, because I say our squad is paper thin. Even when you've got a fit squad, if you've only got one functioning striker who's out of sorts, then you've got no functioning strikers. Stuff with his hand. I mean, hopefully we can rectify that. There's all sorts of talk about various players, but we need competition and/or support for Antonio. You know, bless him. He's full of effort, but when things aren't going for you, they're not going for you.
No, that's true.
Anyway, Maddison's just put Leicester 2-1 up on penalties. Liverpool yet to take their second, by the way.
Rio, no mentioned Michail Antonio. He wasn't there tonight, of course. Ruled out with COVID earlier in the day. Would he have made a difference tonight?
You know what? He's been so off form in the last few weeks. I think it's about 6-7 weeks now. But he loves playing against them lot, doesn't he? And that's the big thing for me. That's the big thing that would have made a difference tonight.
Yeah.
Despite the fact he's way out of form, he does love a goal against Tottenham.
Yeah.
And, the way that they played and that they operated, even a half-fit Antonio, someone big, bulky, who can occupy and bully their defence a little bit, he would have made a difference tonight. Everyone else was wasteful in possession at times and sloppy with passing.
Yeah.
He might as well join the party, but at least would have given them a bit of occupying at the back.
You know, I kind of make you right. I know we were saying at the time.
Just a point though. You say he cried off today. David Moyes was on earlier on and saying that he picked it up sometime last week. So presumably a week ago, just after the Arsenal game. So he's a little bit further down the line. So it wasn't a late thing, but
I hope he's heard the new government regulations today that mean that you only need to be isolated for 7 days rather than 10. I hope someone's got their calculations right at the club.
Yeah.
But what do you make on that note? Do you think Antonio would have made the difference tonight?
Fit and firing Antonio certainly would. Just to update, Leicester 3, Liverpool 2. Schmeichel's had a right go at the referee because I know they're these little stuttering run-ups that people have, but you're not supposed to stop in the middle of it, which I think Firmino clearly did. But clearly Schmeichel knows the laws of the game. Whoever's refereeing up there doesn't. And but Schmeichel had a right go at the referee for that.
Antonio, anyway. You know.
Yeah. Sorry, Antonio.
So we're hoping he'll be back anyway for the Boxing Day game, presumably.
Yeah, I'm hoping so,
Southampton.
because that would be, it's 7 days. If let's say he tested positive after the Arsenal game, which is the earliest he could have, and Moyes said last week, so it would have been there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Then, today's 7 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday makes 10 anyway. If he's, the announcement was today on the 6 or 7 days. So if he's got a couple of lateral flow tests that he's been clear of, then hopefully he'll be back for Boxing Day. And maybe, if he's tested positive after the Arsenal game, maybe it was affecting him.
Possibly.
And it's a nasty thing. Leicester,
I don't think we can extend that to the last month. But yes.
Leicester have just had their 4th penalty save. It looks like the referee's going all out to make sure Liverpool get through, as they usually do.
Rio, let's have a quick look at the KUMB Forum, just to see what our fellow Hammers make of the game tonight. We're not going to go on too long for this post-match review this evening because, quite frankly, I'm knackered. And, we haven't won, so I'm not exactly inclined to sit here for the next hour talking about it. But Rio, let's go to the forum.
Yeah, so Kwenko Hammer. Very difficult to understand large parts of that second half. Vlasic and Bowen were the best players on the park in the first bit. But second half, it seemed like Bowen went right, Vlasic left, and Manu went to a false 9. And it seems that neither Bowen or Vlasic touched the ball enough in the second period. And anyone defending Arthur Masuaku is defending the indefensible. I bet Pinky needs oxygen after watching Diop. But with Zuma and Oggy injured, what alternatives do we have?
Yep.
Great industry, but like everyone says, sign a bloody striker. I love the signings, but if it was us, we'd applaud the team for being professional and not needing to get out of second gear, completely nullifying the opposition. And this is referring to Tottenham's 10 men behind the ball tactics in the second half.
Yep.
Yes, the first half was a roller coaster and got me rolled up. The second half gradually drained me off any hope and gradually accepting we'd lose. Wayne Pinn, a bit of a new member to the forum for me, but he's put that Oliver Skip looks like David Platt's backward son and Corey. I'm not the only one in the world who thinks this kind of thing. Stone Hammer's put, so frustrating. Felt like we had 10 more minutes, we would have scored. We just left it too late. Johnson was absolutely awful. Moving the ball down the line for Ashby all game. The poor lad. As for Diop, well, lucky is Dawson next to him because he saved him more than once. Rice was class as always, and Bowen is more than capable of playing as a striker with a great goal. It's a shame Fredericks didn't come on. He always looks like a threat going forward.
Something you, of course, Rio, were bringing up yourself during the game. Can I just point out? Well, tell everyone first, no.
No, well, I'm just going to comment on Fredericks, and maybe not 100% fit yet, which is why he probably didn't come on. And we've got a game on Boxing Day. We're all laughing because Manamina's just put Liverpool's 5th penalty somewhere in the direction of Rose Ed. We're now through to sudden death.
And can I just point out for the record that I wasn't giving the coffee shake to Rio or the KUM poster who he's referring to, but to the Liverpool player who just put the ball over the bar. My apologies.
Weak penalty from Leicester, so it's advantage Liverpool now.
Should we go back to Rio? It's all falling apart.
Yeah.
Right, sorry, Bernie Hammer. We really could have done with another player alongside Rice in the second half who was capable of driving forward with the ball. Good game with a less pleasing result. Vlasic was unfortunate to be substituted. We just aren't getting the ball to him in the second half. And this is one from El Martello do Giovinazzi, and a very moot point that we didn't really touch upon. Cresswell instead of Masuaku in that game was won. That's not scapegoating him for the goals, but his deliveries and composure in their half was absolutely shocking. There were times we just punted the ball forward to nowhere. If Cresswell had got that time and space, we'd have had goals in us. And Aaron Creswell is becoming an increasingly big loss for us. No kind of coincidence that in his absence, our form has completely dipped. No, there's other factors to play in, but he's a mainstay of that back line. He offers a little bit of composure. His set-piece delivery is exceptional. He's sorely missed at the moment.
What do you make of that, Rio? I mean, we were told after the Man City game that he had a sore back. Cologne. We saw the instant. It certainly looked like he whacked his kidneys.
Oh, it was
just kind of worried. It's over a month now, 4 or 5 games since we appeared, and every game after every single game, David Moyes comes out and says, "Well, we think he'll be back, for this next game." We've not seen him.
This is harking back to the West Ham of old at times, isn't it? Mount something saying,
flu.
Yeah, Alvin Martin flu, Alan Devonshire's kind of like various ailments he had. He's only a week away. And as you said, 2 or 3 weeks down the line, still no sign of him, not even on the bench. I know you touched upon the fact that Ryan Fredericks isn't 100% fit. Well, on the Boxing Day game, isn't Soufal available again? He'll slip into that right back position.
Good point. Yeah.
And Moyes said before the game, Ben Johnson wasn't necessarily ready for tonight, but he played a full 90 in a largely unfamiliar position for most of the game.
Yeah.
So Ryan Fredericks, 15 minutes, his pace would have caused a few more problems than their right hand side. I think Harrison Ashby did well enough. It wasn't outstanding, but I think he did get a little bit overawed, and his decision making, which is naturally understandable. He's a young lad playing against in a major London derby, quarterfinals of the Cup. He did okay, but someone with a bit more experience, a bit more polish, a little bit more pace could have asked a lot of questions down Tottenham's left-hand side, and our right we could have exploited a few things down there.
David O'Rourke agrees, says with regards to Cresswell. Anyway, he says I think if we had had Cresswell on the pitch instead of Arthur, we'd have done more. It's just a funny one, though, isn't he, Masuaku? I mean, it's hard to look at that game and think of anything. All right, there was the odd slack pass, but it wasn't anything he did particularly wrong. I mean, positionally, he was okay. Made a couple of really decent challenges defensively, a couple of decent crosses late on in the second half. But just, I don't know, there's just something not right, and that makes you think that, he's not good enough to play at that level anymore.
Yeah. You say he didn't do anything particularly wrong. I'd say he did. He gave the ball away far, far too much.
Did he? I mean, there was a couple of sloppy passes, but I'm not sure it's as bad as you.
Slack passes, the sort of when he ran out of ideas, the hitting the long balls, hopefully towards some sort of claret blue set. Playing the balls at the touch when there was an easy ball on. I just thought we gave. I thought we had a poor game.
Okay.
And we got 1 or 2 interesting crosses out of him, but I'm as we've said, if Cresswell had been fit, he'd have been on the bench. No question. It's not. You can't blame him for that. We had no other options with the injuries we got.
No, I guess not. But if they're all fit and Soufal starts on Sunday on Boxing Day against Southampton, does Ben Johnson start on the left, or is Masuaku back in, assuming that Aaron Cresswell's not available?
Just trying to think. Well, if Soufal's available, Johnson can play on either flank, can't he?
Yeah.
And Johnson's fit again, so.
So does he take precedence over Masuaku? That's really the question.
I think Johnson would. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rio, do you agree with that?
In fact, before Soufal's injury, before Johnson's injury, I think Johnson was taking precedence over Masuaku, and I can't see any reason why that wouldn't be the case today.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Rio, would you agree with Gnome?
Well, judging by the comment, like Moyes, right, as he said, Ben Johnson's not fully at the races. We've seen Ryan Fredericks play a couple of times down the left-hand side. The kid who played in the European game, Angelo, I thought we had an incredibly good game in that. I know it's a European match. It was a dead rubber for us, but I thought he acquitted himself really well in that particular fixture.
Yeah.
Why not give him a go? He certainly looked the part in that. You know, he's given youngsters like Harrison Ashby tonight. He's had a game.
Yep.
You know, why not? Why not put him in?
One player I do want to talk about briefly, and we tend to do this pretty much after every game. The enigma that is Said Benrahma didn't start tonight. Came on after 68 minutes as a replacement for Manuel Lanzini, or at least as a change for Lanzini and Vlasic, along with Pablo Fornals. Just running through my notes just to see what he did in terms of making me write something about him. Basically, he was on less than a minute when he an Ashby cross came into the box, and he this was the one, I think, Rio, that we spoke about, where he took the ball with his back to goal, swiveled, and we compared him to Bowen, didn't we? And he just sort of leant back and put it over the bar. A few minutes later, 79 minutes, had a shot again from the edge of the box. That one that was straight at Lloris, down Lloris's neck, basically down his throat, from 20 yards or whatever. He had a volley on the right-hand side. It's quite an acute angle, wasn't it? Just over a minute or so late, when he took the ball on the right of the penalty box, one touch and then a volley right across the face of goal. Wasn't far wide, actually, to be fair. But that was about, one or two decent little touches. That was about the sum of his efforts. Now, of course, we're losing him as things stand, of course, because let's be honest, everything's up in the air at the moment with the current crisis worldwide with the pandemic. But of course, we are due to be losing him to the African Cup of Nations in a couple of weeks' time. Have your thoughts changed on him at all based on what you've seen tonight, or is he still, very much an enigma for you, a player that promises much but is still yet to deliver?
For me, exactly that. He was getting in all. To be fair to him tonight, out of our attacking midfielders who particularly come on in the second half, he was getting in all the right positions. He's just looking that killer instinct, that killer ball at the moment. The chances he had, the volley was, it was unlucky. Yep. The one where he skied it, he got in the wrong body position. As we saw with Carabao, when he turns, we saw it against Chelsea, we saw it tonight when he scored his goal. When he turns on the ball, he creates space for himself, and he gets his head over it and gets a low, hard shot in, which invariably on target. You don't see Said do that. He always seems to be leaning in the wrong angle, and the ball skies everywhere. He was getting the right positions, but to coin a Christmas kind of more for my special, but not in the right order.
No, Said Benrahma. You go along with Rio on that.
Yeah, Rio's spot on as usual. He showed flashes earlier on in the season, which made us thought, perhaps, maybe he's beginning to come good, but he seems to have lapsed into, where he was for most of last season. Again, Rio's right. He did look one of the more livelier players when he came on, and today's performance, wasn't that bad, but in the context of the season, he's going to go to the African Cup of Nations, and it's one less problem for Moyes to worry about then. Especially if, as we hope, although I'm hearing conflicting reports about this, that Lingard comes back, because if we've got Lingard, we've got Benrahma. Benrahma doesn't get a look in.
Okay.
I'm hearing different things about Lingard, that he's possibly decided to see out the contract at Manchester United, picking up the big wages.
Yeah.
But
would you like to see him back?
Lingard, yeah, I'd have him back like a shot. Yeah.
Rio?
Certainly, that was a game there that was crying out for something of his sort of pace, and it's something different that we didn't have tonight. We haven't had, arguably, all season. So back now, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Jesse Lingard in transition from defence to attack, hitting on the break. We've seen no one better doing that since Dimitri Payet. What he did for us at the end of last season was exceptional. Yeah. If he's going to have that attitude and that effectiveness as he did when his previous loan spell, fine. I'd welcome him back with open arms. On the other hand, as well, Nikola Vlasic tonight.
Yes,
I thought
let's give him some credit. Yeah,
his first half, especially, he was very, very bright. He got in a lot of really good positions. His quality on the ball was there to be seen. Used it intelligently, created a lot of threat, a lot of opportunity, showed an excellent touch. We didn't really get him involved in the second period, which is a little bit disappointing. But if he's going to be the one who replaces Ben Rama when Ben Rama disappears to Africa, then tonight's cameo was a very promising sign for me.
Yeah, a very good game.
Niko Vlasic.
Particularly in the first half, yeah. Dropped off a little in the second, perhaps. But what impressed me about him was, quite apart from the stuff that we sort of hope of him and why he was signed, the going forward, he was instrumental in one of those, the Souček header that produced the save of the match. But he also did a hell of a lot of donkey work, getting the ball back when we'd lost it, that sort of thing. And so it was a very, very beginning to show a little bit more of what he can do.
Do you know? I mean, I felt one thing that we've not seen from him known so far. He's a strong boy. You know, he's a Croatian lad, and I thought we saw that tonight. You mentioned it once or twice during commentary, how he stood up and held off some challenges from behind, turned really sharply. I don't think we've seen that before.
Yeah,
not to that degree, anyway.
Yeah, and it was, as I say, it was a good game for him, and if we're going to take some positive out of this, other than the fact that it was a better performance up to a point, then it's he can sort of come off and say, well, I can pretty much hold my head high because I put in a shift today.
Mark Richardson, Gnome, is asking what you've heard re Jesse, just asking for an update. So
sorry, well, up until yesterday, the various bits and pieces that were going around were that he's certainly looking at going. He was certainly looking at going in the window, and Newcastle were supposed to be competing with us for his signature, but Newcastle apparently have decided not to pursue that. And then the second bit of news was that it was said that he's maybe deciding not to move in the window at all, and hang on to the closed season, when obviously he wouldn't command a fee. I guess financially for him that would be, get more out of financially moving as a free agent, because obviously what you save on the transfer fee, the player's agent will be sniffing around for. But I don't know how true that is. It's just one of the sort of various rumour sites that's going around.
Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough, because the transfer window, of course, is opening in just over a week's time. So we'll see what's happening there. I can tell you the draw for the semi-final, though it's not going to be of much interest to anyone on this stream tonight, but the draw for the semi-final.
What about Chelsea?
We would have got Chelsea. Arsenal face Liverpool, Tottenham v Chelsea in the semi-final. Two really dull and boring semi-finals now with those four teams, but that's how it's transpired anyway. We're going to wrap up fairly soon, gentlemen. As I said, we're not going to go on for too long tonight, but a couple of things I want to touch on first. Let's begin with man of the match. I think we might have possibly touched on him just now, but Rio, let me come to you first on that one. Your top player from West Ham this evening.
It's a little bit of a tough one, actually. If based on first half performance, I would have given to Vlasic.
Yeah.
Based on the second half performance, Declan. But neither of them put in a full kind of contribution over the full 90 minutes.
Yeah.
If I have to give it, I'll give it to Vlasic just to cheer that up. He's not had a lot of game time. He struggled to make an impression before tonight.
Yeah.
But he finally looks like he's up for the challenge of Premiership football. And he showed some very bright touches and looked very promising. So I'll give it to Vlasic tonight.
One for Nico, no?
Yeah, I'll go for that. I was thinking exactly the same thing as Rio, that Rice had a good second half, Vlasic good first, and but we'll give it to Vlasic, I think, just for this occasion.
Okay. I think I'm going to have to go with you guys. Clean sweep across the board for Nico Vlasic tonight. Honourable mentions, I think, to Harrison Ashby, who didn't really put a foot wrong. I mean, unfortunately, slightly lacking that little bit of quality there. No,
I've got David Moyes on, by the way, if you want me to do some.
let's let's do that. Or let's chuck that in before we wrap up. So
I'm just waiting for
is...
the subtitles to catch up.
Okay.
Having said that, subtitles seem to have disappeared completely. So let me turn it up a little bit.
All right, no worries. Gnome's off listening to the boss to hear what he's got to say about that. Be interesting to see if Moisey mentions the offside second goal, which nobody seems to have touched on, unless they're talking about it on Sky Sports, which of course we can't hear because we're talking to you guys on the live stream. I thought Craig Dawson, Rio, I thought had a decent game. It's difficult, isn't it, when you've lost 2-1, you've conceded a couple of goals, to look at a defender and say, yeah, he's had a decent game, but got into some good areas attacking wise, made some really, really strong challenges at the back. I guess had he managed to get that header on target in the first half, we could have been talking about him as a potential man in the match winner.
Yeah, most certainly. I was just about to actually mention him as you just discussed with the handover. No,
yeah,
Craig Dawson. The only thing with him is he's having to deal with a very inexperienced back line, isn't he? Yes. Harrison Ashby not got a lot of experience at all. Ben Johnson playing out of position, even the under-23s, like we said earlier, he played most of his young career as an attacking right-sided midfielder. He's been made into a makeshift fullback, tonight into a makeshift right-sided centre-back. And also you got the mercurial Issa Diop, who really is, you don't know what you're going to get from day to day, do you? And today is one of his bad
from minute
days.
to minute, let alone day to day. It was a bit like that tonight, wasn't he, at times?
So Craig's got to try and marshal an inexperienced and somewhat flaky back line. We didn't even bring up Arthur Masuaku on the left-hand side to complete the full set of misfits. And, considering what I had around him, he did really well. And let's be honest, what effect did Harry Kane have in that game? Didn't have a big impact at all. So Craig did really well. I was going to bring it up just as you was discussing with Gnome now. But yeah, it gets mentioned in dispatches. I'm still going to go with Vlasic though, because I do like a Croatian player. Just something about them. They've always got that little bit of that combination of either supreme skill, supreme psychopathness, or like we said, saw with Slaven Bilic in his pomp when he played for us. A combination of both. Silky skills, a little bit of a head case, I'm a Croat all the way.
If I remember rightly, our first Croat had plenty of skill, but he was about 20 years out of date by the time he landed at West Ham.
Yeah.
It was Suka, wasn't it? Was the first?
Actually, no, I think Bilic was the first. Suka joined...
Of course, it would have been, wouldn't he? Of course, yeah. 95, 96.
Yeah. Then Suka and Stimac pretty much at the same time, didn't we?
97, 98, wouldn't he? And Suka was horrendous pretty much. And apart from that, one game, was it the Man U game where we were 2-0 down and he scored twice right at the end, if I remember rightly?
Yeah.
And it was almost Yarmolenko-esque, just turned it on for one game and that was his West Ham career over.
One of the greatest strikers ever for me, ever Suka.
Absolutely.
And we saw the Panland version of him, really, unfortunately.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? But at least he turned it on against Manchester United. It could have been worse, I suppose. It could have been a Bradford or a Sheffield Wednesday. But yes, we've had some delightful Croat West Ham over this. Thomas Souček, not Croatian, but not from too far up the road in the Czech Republic. What did you make of his performance tonight?
I'm from near Moscow, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I felt so sorry for him because that spell when we responded after going a goal down, and we actually went through them and we caused a lot of that issues, a lot of problems for them. Thomas was at the heart of it. He's crying out for to be paid in his role from last year. He's been kind of shifted around to accommodate Declan Rice's burgeoning career. He's done it with really well, but he's just not getting in positions where it makes him stand out. He's not getting into the area as much as he used to. And it's to his detriment a little bit. He's lacking that little bit of magic. But I think if that goal had gone in, like the effort which Lloris made an absolute world-class save from. I think we might have seen a different Thomas Souček for the next few weeks or so, because he misses that magic. I think he needs a goal like that in a big game like this to kind of lift his spirits and lift his heart. Now, we saw the way he celebrated at the end of the game the other week, doing the high fives with the crowd. No, he clearly loves it here. He clearly loves being a part of West Ham. He's just lacking a little bit of kind of that potato salad magic that he brings to the side, because he's been asked to shift position a little bit.
I've got to say, I love that celebration where he was running along. That's the one you're referring to. Where it kind of reminded me of the sort of thing under 8s and under 9s do at grassroots level at the end of the game. You know, the go and shake the hands of both parents. But he clearly enjoyed it. 3 really good chances, didn't he? In the space of 4 or 5 minutes, the 2 headers, the one you referred to, the brilliant save where Lloris tips it over the bar, the one a few seconds later where he sent the looping header over Lloris that Lloris sort of just managed to get back and tip over. And then, of course, as Gnome rightly spotted, there was that chance, the Lanzini pass to the far post, which was just inches away from getting on the end of, but just not falling for him at the moment, is it? But anyway, Gnome's been listening to the boss. David Moyes has been chatting after that defeat tonight. Was he pretty despondent and downhearted, Gnome, or
very disappointed at the result. On the performance, he thought we were a better team. Just didn't take the chances that we had, and if that had been a league game, he was disappointed not to get a draw out of it. Didn't say an awful lot. The one comment he did make, which was interesting, he was asked about Antonio, and he said, well, Antonio was missed as much as Ogbonna, Zuma, Cresswell, etc. And he was asked about Antonio's availability over Christmas. And he said, he should be available over Christmas. And then the interviewer said, so would that be Boxing Day? And he said, no. He said, I said over Christmas. So he may not be around for Boxing Day, the Southampton game, but he may be. I guess it's one of these things, as we mentioned, it depends when he tested, and it depends on where he is on that chart as for lateral flow testing. So,
and of course, it also depends how he reacted to the virus, because not everybody's reacting exactly the same way.
As I say, I mean, it's entirely possible that he didn't test positive till at least Thursday. But the thing is, if he tested positive for it on Thursday, then he would have had it while he was playing Arsenal. It's unlikely that he's walked off the pitch, and I suppose it's possible he's just picked it up walking off the pitch. But which it's a horrible thing. I think you've had a touch of it, haven't you? Thankfully I've managed to avoid it so far, but everyone I know's had it. It's laid them for 6. So, if he's been ill, then you've got to cut him a little bit of slack. But so he may not be around for Southampton.
Okay.
So that would then mean that the next game is Watford away, I think, on the 28th. Is it? Yeah. So
on the Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah.
Tuesday. That's the trouble. You get to this time of year, and then all the days sort of merge into one, don't they? You're not quite sure what day it is because of, and Christmas being a weekend, you've got the bank holidays thrown in, and I have trouble knowing what day of the week it is when it's an ordinary day of the week. So.
To be honest with you, at my age, I'm like that anyway. So Christmas doesn't really make a lot of difference. But anyway, that does bring me nicely on to our very, very last subject of the post-match discussion, which is, of course, the one we do at the end of every stream, which is looking ahead to our next game. And Gnome has given us a nice introduction to it already. We face Southampton at the London Olympic Stadium on Boxing Day, also known as Sunday, I believe, this week. West Ham, as I said earlier, only 1 win in 7 games in all competitions, looking to get back to winning ways. Rio, is this the game we, the opponent we need to do that?
Judging by our recent home performances against them, you'd say yes. But Southampton aren't mugs, you know. They're another bit of a side which are a bit of an enigma, aren't they? You know, one week they come up with an absolutely impressive performance. They've got players like James Ward-Prowse who walk into any side in the Premiership in my book. Other weeks they look like an absolute shambles. It's just which Southampton turn up and which West Ham turn up.
Yeah.
It's going back to kind of the pre-Moyes days, isn't it? Not slagging off what David's achieved, not dismissing what the coaching staff, the management have instilled into this current crop of players. But because of the injuries, because of the lack of strength in certain areas, we're now looking like a tired side who you don't know what you're going to get. And it's a little bit of a worry. Even with those players we have missing, you'd expect us to beat Southampton at home. Now we've got the tools at our disposal. We're lacking in certain areas, as we all know. But it's a very busy period of football. December's been, we're seeing 6 games already this year, this month, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Another 3 or 4 to come. There's a lot of football to be played. And we've got a lot of tired bodies out there, a lot of tired minds. And we lack the depth to kind of really be assertive and be confident at the moment. If it's been the start of the season, I would have backed us every day of the week to beat Southampton at home. Yeah. At the moment, I just don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, all right. Rio, not so sure, Gnome, about this fixture. One that, excuse me, he felt we would have won at a canter, perhaps, at the start of the season. This one has a little bit of added, I won't say importance, but relevance to you in some sense, given that, the geographical location of some of the Gnome family, who, of course, live fairly close to that part of the world. Do you agree with Rio? Do you think this is going to be a slightly tougher one than usual, given our current circumstances?
I think we'll win. As Rio said, Southampton don't really turn it on a consistent level. Having said that, we didn't play well. That was the first game this season we didn't play well in, down at their place for the 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
Perhaps slightly fortunate to come away with it, but it's not really got an awful lot of relevance for the Thrower family. Just only that Jeff, when he goes into work, if West Ham beat Southampton, because he works in Andover, and he gets to do a lot of Mickey taking. Particularly with there's a woman there called Alice who gets on really well with, who supports Southampton, and he takes great delight in telling her every weekend when they've lost. So, but I think we'll beat them, because I think we saw today that again, stuff in the final third notwithstanding, we can dominate games when teams are sitting back and I think we'll win. I just it might not be a pretty game to watch, but I think we will win it. Yeah.
Okay. We certainly need it, don't we? We certainly need a win. It'd be
nice. Yeah.
It would be very nice. But
there you go. So a few more points to come home to, wouldn't it?
It would be a very, very welcomed Christmas present for Moisey and the boys, I think, this year. It's been a really difficult December. Been up against it, players injured, COVID, that small squad, Antonio misfiring up front. It's kind of like a perfect storm has hit us with a vengeance in the last few weeks, and we've struggled a little bit. But being a fan, let's not forget, it's been an absolutely fantastic season. We're going into the game 5th in the Premier League. All right, we're out of the cup, we're out of the Carabao Cup, but had a decent run, and some memorable victories along the way, and certainly memories for those who at least who were there at Old Trafford on that night at the London Olympic Stadium against Man City that they'll remember for many, many years. So some good memories made anyway.
Phil, we can concentrate on Europe now, can't we, Tottenham?
Exactly. Poor old Spurs booted out. Terrible. But that is just about it for us tonight here on the stream. We did go on a little bit longer than I'd planned, but isn't that always the case? My thanks to my right-hand man, Rio, my left-hand man, Gnome, or is it the other way round? Depends which way
I'm
you're
over
viewing
here.
it. I don't know. It's always different. It always looks different on my screen to what it does on yours. Yeah, I'll have a pee, please, Gnome. Very, very soon, actually, as it goes.
Yeah,
right. Our thanks to all of you for joining us live on the stream. Thank you, as always, for dropping your comments in on the live chat and all the questions you've asked us. Greatly helps us to keep the show running smoothly as it was. That may be it in terms of pre-Christmas matches for West Ham United, but it certainly isn't it as far as knees up Mother Brown goes at this time of year. The KUMB.com forum is alive and kicking, and it's going to be full of chat for the next few days. And of course, throughout the Christmas periods, if you haven't already done so, get on over there and join in, have your say. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you sit on. We try and provide a platform for everyone, every West Ham supporter, irrespective of what your viewpoint is. And of course, don't forget, it's Christmas Eve in a couple of days' time, which means we have the ex-Revs Christmas message for about the 15th year in a row. The Reverend Elwyn Cockett has kindly agreed to return with his annual Christmas. It's better than the Queen, actually.
I just think his name's straight out of a Dickens novel, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The Reverend Elwyn Cockett. Was he an
Archdeacon, I believe.
Archdeacon now, is it? Yeah. Archdeacon Elwyn Cockett. It's straight out of Pickwick Papers, isn't it?
He used to play for Barnsley, didn't he, Archdeacon?
Yeah, Owen Archdeacon. Yeah.
But that will
be.
We
go from religion to Barnsley in 2 steps.
Good stuff. See, you don't get this anywhere else, folks.
Yeah,
that'll be on.
For that.
Yes. You can catch Elwyn's Christmas message on the homepage of KUMB.com on Christmas Eve. It's there every year. It's going to be there once again this year. As I say, Elwyn has kindly agreed to do that for us.
Seriously, though, definitely worth a read. That's always a good read.
Yeah, it is. Caps the year off for me. Always does. It's my one of the things I look forward to now as much as opening presents on Christmas. Well, actually not quite as much, but it's good anyway. Make sure you read it if you haven't. That is just about it from us. All it leaves me to say is to wish you all out there, all you fellow KUMBers and West Ham United fans, a very, very merry and safe Christmas. Please stay safe. And please make sure that you can, get together as a family and enjoy your Christmas this year. We've had a couple of rubbishy ones, and if you're able to, make sure you can get together. Don't do anything silly over the next couple of days and go out and catch a dose of COVID or whatever. It's not nice. And enjoy your Christmas and catch up with us on Boxing Day, because you'll be bored of the family by then. Believe me, 24 hours in the company of Aunt Meg's and enough to send anyone doolally. So we fully expect to see you back here with us on Sunday for the street. Gentlemen, are you guys going to be at the London Stadium on Sunday, or are you catching it from home?
I'll be at the stadium.
Okay.
I'll be nearer Southampton than the stadium for obvious reasons. To say. Didn't get to see me folks last year for the first time in about 60 years. Yeah. And, bless them, my mum's terrified that we won't all get together this year. So one of those occasions where I put the family first, I'm afraid.
And rightly so, as it always should be. That's it from us tonight. As I said, wishing you all a very, very merry and safe Christmas. Have a wonderful time with your families, and we shall catch up, our second family, the West Ham family, once again on Sunday, Boxing Day, for West Ham United versus Southampton. Until then, take care, everybody.
Have a good Christmas. Bye.
Happy Christmas, everybody. Happy Christmas.
We're here in the offices of a Late Late Show with the host of a Late Late Show, James Corden.
Hi.
Big West Ham fan.
Yes. And big knees up Mother Brown, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm regularly on the general discussion page. There's always someone who's got some information, so I love it. Yeah. It's great.
Get on the forum at kumb.com. Come on, you irons.